Hello, hello. All right, let me see. The group is having a hard time getting on, but I'll let everybody hop on. So go ahead and hop on, and I am going to figure this out for the group. All right. Hi, Sky, or David. I took everything out. It's done. So everything's good. I'll be done in a few minutes. It's dinner time here. So give me a second. I'm going to try to figure out group on my phone. Normally I use my other computer, but we'll see. Let's see. All right, let's see. Maybe it'll do it. Maybe it won't. We're going to see, right? All right, let's see. If it doesn't, then I have to figure it out. All right, thank you guys for being so patient. All right, I think it's because I have airplane mode on. Maybe I turn it off. Who knows? All right, so I'm just going to turn it off and pray somebody doesn't call me. We'll see. All right. But I will start here. All right, so people are hopping off. Hey, Cynthia, how are you? All right, so make sure to share this. All right, I'm just going to be on for a few minutes, and we are going to talk just for a little bit about some pet peeves of mine. Hi, Nicole. I got you down, girl, so whenever you need it. So I'm a little frustrated, and I'm going to let people keep hopping on. And, you know, I have done this for a long time, all right? And I have dealt with it all, it seems like, as far as some of the things that the school districts do. Now, I haven't dealt with it all when it comes to IEPs. I don't think any of us ever will because they never fail to surprise us. But what's important is that we stay as prepared as possible. Sorry, I'm still trying to get the group. That we stay as prepared as possible and we really focus on, hi, okay, good. The group is there. All right, guys. Yay. Okay. Oh, it's cool how you can do all kinds of different things on the group, you know, like put makeup on yourself and everything. So I'm going to do that. So at least I look good on one of the pages. I'm just playing. So yeah, anyway, oh look, I got sunglasses on and I'm at the beach now on the group. Y'all should come check it out if you're part of the group. What can she do? What are you talking about? I have a friend who has to be quarantined. Her daughter gets speech, but they said they will see her when she gets back to school. Does she have COVID or was she just sent home because she was exposed? This is so cool. I love this. All right. Okay. So I'm totally digging that. All right. You guys got to hop on the group. All right. Because I got sunglasses on and I'm at the beach here. This is cool. All right. That's the cool thing about groups. So if you haven't joined my group, go to search and say Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and join the group. Make sure you guys say hi when you get on the group so I know you guys are on. Okay. Say hi. Say hi. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. So I got the group over here, the page here. I have horrible light on the page, and I have great light on the group. But that doesn't matter. So join us in the group. Yeah. Yes. So everybody's starting to transfer over to the group. So, isn't that cool? Like I got glasses on. These are kind of cool, but you know what? I don't like the glasses that have those things. They actually hurt. Okay. So if you are new, post a 1 below. That's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay. So I'm not going to be on long. I just finished dinner. Today's been crazy. Um, and crazy as in, I just had a 4 hour because tomorrow I'm taking Skylar to Busch Gardens and she will not let me live it up if I don't take her. And so I was getting things together and, it's a short week this week. So anyway, tip of the week. So a lot of what I'm seeing lately is school districts are really stalling to have IEP meetings. You're asking for an IEP meeting, and sometimes they're not getting back to you. Or one of the things I recently came, to for the first time, was when they wouldn't send a link until the very end, and then I had to copy and paste their laws in that state saying that hey, it's actually up to the parent where it is. It can be in person, it can be on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever virtually. It can be by phone, which I don't suggest at all. Always do face to face. Face to face is a lot more personal, and you can see their face, their facial expressions, etc., and they can see yours. I like to be able to see, hey guys, I haven't been on the group forever. It's always been shared. But I am starting, just so you know, guys, on the group, I am starting the Q&A this week. Okay? I'm not sure if I'm going to do it Tuesday or if I'm going to do it Wednesday, but it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay? And we will put up a notice, a template, a post, and you will know when it is. Okay? All right. So definitely share this, guys. So basically, they're stalling in many different ways. All right. They're not doing evaluations on time, and getting back to you, not once they start because they know that time limit, but they're not getting back in time. We're waiting and waiting and waiting. And this is what I mean about how school districts will stall and stall and stall as much as they can until, months have gone by. All right. So here's the tips. Number one, put in writing if you want an IEP meeting. To whom this may concern. No, you want to tag everybody. All right. So whoever you're sending it to, and then you put everybody else, okay, on the team. Always send it to the whole team. Don't directly email one person. The whole team. Because if they do something wrong and you got to call them out, you're calling them out in front of everybody. Okay? Now, in everyday life, we don't do that. In the IEP, we do. Because they need to own when they're wrong. All right? And when they're not doing something right. So everybody is going to know about it. All right? And you want them to make right of it. All right? So within 30 days, that IEP meeting needs to be had. All right? That's all over. Okay? That's not just in one state. All right? And it's okay if you and they agree that it's after that, but typically it has to be within that 30-day period. Hey, Kim, how are you? And Christine, I have a friend. So basically, if the child's sick, then no. But if it's just simply they're home because they were exposed, then they should make it to where the child can have virtual. Now, is there a law or something like that on it? No. But you could go after them for compensatory services. You could go after them for your services like speech, OT, etc., and have them make it up because it wasn't the child's fault. They're not just sick and they're at home. All right. Because if a child's sick and they're at home and it's your fault, then they do not have to make up that time. But if they are the ones that are sick, or like in that situation, if COVID happens, your child's exposed, then yes, okay, they have to make it up. All right. If not, it's an OCR violation of discrimination against your child. So anything pertaining to services, accommodations, modifications, etc., have to do with OCR, and a complaint could be made if you'd like to in regards to that. Okay. So they have to do that. And a lot of schools won't say, hey, Christine, Nicole, Aaron, guys, guess what? If the speech teacher is absent, we're going to make it up. How about next week at 2 p.m., we'll take him out of such and such class and we'll make up speech. Is that okay with you? Is that a good time? That is what should happen. All right. And that's why you always want to ask, tip number 2, for service logs. Okay. OT, speech, PT. It should say the date they took your child, the time they took your child, small amount of notes, what they did, what goals they worked on. We worked on this goal, no book, just, notes on what they worked on. And they're supposed to sign it. All right. And that's actually in accordance to their license. Is it kind of laid out on how they're supposed to do it? Not so much, but that is what a log is. Hey, I went and got Sarah at 2:00 for speech. She has speech 2 times a week. So you know that on Tuesday and Thursday or whatever, that child was taken out 2 times a week. Okay. You can also have that. Kim actually has it put on a communication sheet daily. So if she doesn't get a communication sheet, then she doesn't know if her child had speech, OT, or whatever, right? But that is something that's important. Another thing is if she gets it, which she normally does, I would say 90% of the time, then if speech, OT, or whatever is not on it, then she knows if something was missed. All right. So those are things that you can do too, is have a daily communication sheet. So then, and I always requested that each therapist note their own stuff. All right, so the teacher note her stuff, the therapist, OT, PT, speech, music therapy, dance therapy, whatever, note their own stuff, okay? So that's another thing. I never do just one tip, do I? So another thing, okay, is if an attorney is ever in your IEP, which I would say they're in about 65% of mine, don't let them bully you. All right. They like to take over the IEP meetings. There's one that actually I can't work with her. So that's something that the state's going to be dealing with. And I will not work with her anymore. And technically a IEP is not the place for an attorney. Does the school have a right to bring an attorney, just like you have a right to bring an advocate or you have a right to bring an attorney yourself? Then yes, they can. Typically, if there is not an advocate or an attorney, then they can't bring anybody. Okay. So that's important to remember. Don't let them bully you. A lot of times they'll say, this is the law or this is this. But if you're confident and you know that what you're saying is accurate, don't think that because they're attorneys that they don't spit bullshit. Okay. That's what they do, okay? Attorneys are, most of them, okay, that's their tactic, is to spit bullshit and make you question yourself, okay? And so that's what you need to understand, is they're very argumentative because that's their job. And they're very bullshitty because that's their job. So it doesn't make them bad people. That's their job. They're full of bullshit. Okay. So anything that they say does not mean, oh, that's it. That is accurate because they're an attorney. No, you know what I mean? That's not accurate. Okay. So I'm not saying sometimes they're not. I'm just saying that don't let them bully you. All right. So if you have an advocate or whatever that may, I get a lot of phone calls from people who say they got an advocate and then the advocate doesn't talk. Well, your advocate should talk in the IEP meeting. That's what their job is, and basically to let you relax and they take over and you are able to, you kind of chime in as the advocate defers to you. So it's a conversation really between the advocate and the mom. So there's that calm understanding, because I always talk to my parents in advance, and so we have this comfortable dialogue, and I let them know, hey, I will defer to you unless you have something to say. Just say it. But they're like, no, that's why I hired you. Well, please just talk. But I always like to defer to parents for certain situations because school districts want to hear from you, and so I will guide parents in saying things in a way that they can feel confident, all right, and learn to become that CEO, right? Because if you're anything like me in the beginning, and I would stumble over my words. I wouldn't say the things that I wanted to say because I was nervous. And so when I'm nervous, all kinds of things come out. And then I'd leave the IEP meeting and I was angry because nothing that I wanted to say 100% came out. And then, like, I would write lists for myself. And, I was so nervous that even though I prepared and I wrote the list for myself and made notes, I was too nervous. Have you guys ever had this? I was too nervous to read the damn notes. Or I would check them off, but then we'd get off on a tangent. And then I would get too nervous. Oh, it was horrible. Oh God, I remember those days so well. It was horrible, horrible. And, because it's like when you're nervous, you could prepare all you want. And then you have, your notes. And I always, in my course, I tell parents, divide it, positives, negatives. What is it, from top to bottom, the importance. But you need to go through each and every item and not skip a beat. Okay. And not let them rush you. That's tip number what? What am I on? 3, 4. Do not let them rush you. If anything, well, shit, lots of stuff pisses me off in an IEP, but I don't tolerate it. I don't. I'll say, you know what? End the meeting because you want to rush me and you don't want to let the parent participate as an equal team member and a decision maker in the IEP. So just end the meeting if you want to rush us, and we'll do what we need to do. Totally up to you, because I will. That's it. Done. All right? Because I will not be rushed. Okay? And I think it was last week that the teacher said, well, I have to get back to class, because I have to do this, 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 and this. And I said, well, it is the principal's job to ensure that your class is covered when you have an IEP meeting. All right. Because I respected the fact that she wanted to get back to class, but I didn't respect the fact that she wanted to leave an IEP meeting knowing that she can't leave an IEP meeting and that she wanted to rush this parent because she wanted to go back to class. So, it's like a positive. She wants to, be with her students, but it's a negative because you can't just leave an IEP meeting, with a special ed teacher or gen ed teacher. So don't let them rush you. Another thing, all right, is we're going to be going over goals again this week. All right. Because there's, I went over goals the other day, last week, and I went over the fact that, this is how you, can write some goals. I just, it wasn't about writing goals, but it was, here's how you can write some goals. And then I showed you how I want those goals measured and then how I want them to take data. Okay. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. And it's a every 2-week thing, 4 times in a 9-week period. And you have to explain to them how it is you want it measured. All right. Typically, they won't mind doing it in that type of way because it alleviates them from having to do trials upon trials upon trials upon trials, which is not ideal. Okay, for your child, for them, etc. Hi, BB. How are you? Hi, Heather. Hi, Yana. How are you? Hi, Shirley. Christina. All right, so post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. I have some new people on here. All right, so if you are part of the group, join the group because I got sunglasses on here. I got like palm trees on my wall. I don't know where they come from. And it's kind of cool. I think it has like this line on me too. Look at that. You see that line? That is so weird. Look at that. Oh, that is weird. Okay. So that's important too. So that's it. Those are some good tips, right? This is not a content night. So it is a tip night. So if you guys have any questions, I will hang out for a few minutes and then I got to feed my kid and it's late. So they are not experts on my child, so why would they speak at an IEP? Yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, I had a attorney the other day. I was in a mediation, and he said, "Oh, well," he kept saying that I didn't know Oregon law. All right. Okay. I'm not from Oregon. I'm not. But idea is idea. And he kept saying certain things that were not true. All right. And then, I was looking at due process cases, so on and so forth. And, he's like, "Oh, I've been an attorney for 20 something, 30 something years," whatever he said. And, but yet there's not much there, like, I'm like, whatever. But so anyway, I looked up the things that he had said, and it was actually inaccurate. So it made me want to come live and give you that about the attorneys is they're trained to shove bullshit in your face. And so don't, like, I did question myself for a second, but then I started thinking about it and I was like, no, these are idea things. These are not Oregon things that I'm talking about. And because Oregon and is a lot like California in a lot of ways, as far as their laws and so on and so forth. Advocates can't do due process in Oregon. Just different things. They're very similar. So those are things I already know. And like he kept saying, "Oh, this, that, and the other," and this case and that case. So I looked up the case, and he was wrong. So I was like, it kind of bugged me because I actually believed him. I was like, okay, you're the attorney. Okay. But then, I wrote it down so I could look it up. And so I found that interesting. It wasn't a big deal, but it was more or less the fact that, when he was arguing his point, because he and I kind of butted heads. And I couldn't believe that, when he said certain things that he was bullshitting. And so that was interesting. And it's not something that I don't know. But if I'm going to question myself sometimes, even though I know idea very well, and in due process, even though there's state laws, idea kind of is mainly there, okay, in regards to FAPE, in regards to whatever is going on and why you made that complaint and, filed for due process. And, state law is some of the basic things, that, the HO or, the judge will base things off of. There's some states, for example, like Texas, the 504 arena is not something the judges and HOs take on due to jurisdiction. All right. So it's something that you have to do yourself, which is pretty simple if you know how to make a good complaint and know that it's going to be founded. So it's just about knowing how to write that complaint. So you get somebody to write one for you once or twice, and then you kind of will pick it up. Okay. All right. So that is it for tonight. All right. So enjoy those tips of the week. The biggest thing for me is lately the stalling. Lots of stalling. Why? Because they're going crazy. That's why. All right. They're going crazy. They're going nuts because, we got COVID rising for some crazy reason. And the Delta variant, which is what I got, sucks. And then they're not wanting to deal with having IEPs and dealing with parents and asking for evaluations. And, parents are holding their children back and, all of that kind of stuff. Like, there's actually many states, though, right now that, parents don't even have to ask to hold their child back because it's just allowed. That's up to the parent because of COVID. So it's not one of those things that a lot of school districts are arguing. It's a pretty simple thing. And, it's not something that is typically frowned upon because it is up to the parent and, the school, not really the district. It's more the principal. But if you don't agree with something the principal says or whatnot, then you can take it further. All right. But if you're wanting to hold your child back this year, now's the time to do it because of COVID and them maybe losing skills and so on and so forth. All right. Especially if they're younger, don't feel bad about that. You are not failing them in any way. If anything, you're going to help them, especially if they're in the, fourth grade and under. I always worry about their mental health, as far as being held back of how much they understand, how much they don't understand, and all of those types of things. All right. Thanks, Erin, for posting the group. Yeah, Bill, and it's crazy because I had the laws up because I don't memorize every state law. You know what I mean? I have to research them. And I know most of them now, but I had them up. But when you're having a conversation and it's kind of heated, you're not like, "Oh, hold on, let me look up the law." You know? But it was neither here nor there, who cares? He just kind of spit at the mouth, and I'm glad I looked it up. So Heather says, I'd rather prevent a problem. And if you guys have questions, make sure to ask. It always says on the group, it just says, this person's watching, this person's watching. It's weird, where like the page, everybody starts talking. So like, is there someone on here that can ask a question so I know that it works? On the group? Maybe. Yes. Why should the principal determine if your kid repeats second grade when she knows nothing about your child and is brand new? Well, we're going to discuss that this week. And, she does have all the information from whatever the last principal had. But it's not likely that she's going to have an issue, especially this year. So I wouldn't worry about that. And, if you saw my email, she responded right away and was like, "No, I can meet on this day." And, she seems very nice. So you're lucky. All right. So if you are new, or even if you're an oldie but goodie, make sure you post below where you're from. All right, post a 1 below if you're new, 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, and tell us where you're from. I love knowing where everybody's from. All right. And you know what I'm interested in, because I'm thinking about holding a live on it, is not to talk about my opinion. Okay, I don't do that typically. I'll give you my opinion, but I don't typically talk about certain things like this. But I'm curious because there's a lot of states that are starting to mandate the vaccine. And I'm just curious, a healthy conversation. I want to know from parents, what's your thoughts? Do you think that things should be mandated, or do you think that people should choose? I will state my thoughts. And, I think that we need to I think it'd be good to have a healthy conversation and respect everybody and really think about the problem here, which some people feel that you should be vaccinated and some people feel that, it's their choice. And, we have to talk about it because, when there's problems, change isn't going to be made if we don't talk about it. So we have to figure out, because I know there's many states like New York, if you go to New York City, if you don't have the vaccine, there's certain places where you can't go. And I just think that's crazy. But, it's one of those things. So, and again, everybody has an opinion about it, but I'm curious because I want to know what's going on in your schools, because I don't know if you guys heard, and this kind of caused a controversy, is a teacher, did you guys hear about this? A teacher infected multiple students. And let me see if I have it pulled up. Let me see. I don't. Yeah, I don't. But so what happened is a teacher um, who didn't get the vaccine, which is fine. That was her choice. And she infected, I want to say it was like 20 something kids in her class. And, but come to find out, it's not the vaccine that bothers me. I don't care if she got the vaccine or not. What I care about is the fact that she wasn't feeling good. And so it was, I don't know, like it's kind of crazy, I'll have to post it for you guys. But that was a little surprising, because it didn't end at, oh, she just chose not to get the vaccine. It was, she knew she was sick and she went to school and infected like 20 something people. So that's where, issues can happen. It's like, have the choice, do what you want to do, but don't go infecting people. When I had COVID, I stayed home for 3 weeks. I had things delivered. But at the same time, I didn't feel like doing anything. Zero. Vale, Arizona. Welcome, Terry. How are you? Sanford, Connecticut. Such a nice area. Hey, Kim from Louisiana. Bill said, sometimes I even slip off and research you and you're pretty accurate. Yeah, if I'm ever wrong, please call me out. Because again, nobody knows everything, okay? But typically I don't just spill bullshit. Yana says, I absolutely think it should be a personal choice. Christine said, I think it's a personal choice as well. Bill said, not many are going to touch this vaccine narrative. I know. I'm like, okay, we stay away from politics and we stay away from religion. We stay away from all these things that are important, and I'm pretty open, so like, it's weird. Like, I don't say, oh, I'm Democrat. Oh, I'm Republican, because I'm not. I'm really not. Like, I'm both, because I agree with both sides in different things. Kind of like I'm pretty pissed off at Texas right now. Okay? I don't think that they should have banned abortion. Would I have an abortion? Look, I'm getting off on a tangent. Go ahead, get off if you don't agree with me, whatever. But I mean, would I personally have an abortion? Absolutely not. I wouldn't be able to live with myself. It wouldn't be something I personally could do. But I'll be damned if I would agree that it be banned and against the law to have an abortion. I think it was 6 weeks or something. I mean, some people just find out then, and then I think, okay, what if something, illegal happened to them? What if, all these things go through my head? And then I think about, okay, what if it was our children that it happened to? And then we have this law, So all it's going to do is cause people to go to different states, But yeah, I don't like that. I don't like when the government decides for us. But anyway, we're getting off on a tangent, and that's not important. So get your IEP meetings together, okay? Even if you've recently had one last year, get one going right now. You need to touch base. You need to find out how your child's acclimating. You need to, make sure your goals are on point, and you need to make sure the present levels are accurate. Give it 6 weeks or so, but if you schedule now, it's going to be that anyway, 6 to 8 weeks. And if you haven't had an evaluation in a year or more, do it now. Okay. I was looking at an IEP today for a 6-year-old. He is going to be repeating kindergarten, and his IEP, this is his file. All right, it's pretty huge. All right, for a 5-year-old or 6-year-old. All right, I mean, huge. Like, this is not even everything. Okay, his IEP is 26 pages. He's 6. He just finished kindergarten. He's going to repeat it, and the school has failed him completely. It's not one of those things where, oh, he hasn't made progress, blah blah blah. He hasn't, but it's one of those things where if it continues, we're really in trouble. You know, the child is not talking. He will talk at home, but he has selective mutism and is not talking at school. And they're giving the child speech 3 times a month. Why am I running into this issue so much? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how any educated human being with a license in that area can recommend that. A nonverbal child that is struggling per their evaluations, and you want to offer them 3 times a month? Like, what is wrong with that picture? And it's happening all the time. Yeah. I mean, the things that are put into IEPs and the contradictory things that are done. Here's an example, and then I'm going to get off because I gave you my tips of the week. Okay. Hi, Mary Ellen. How are you? Hi, Susan and Cynthia and Kamaris. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. Hi. What else? We have Nicole came over and Naomi and Mimi. Hello. So yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very frustrating, you know, and I don't like today I looked at a evaluation. I went through it with a fine tooth. It took me 2.5 hours to go through this evaluation for this 6-year-old. 6. And most of the scores were not good. And what was frustrating is as I'm getting towards the end, it contradicted itself. So over here, it said the child's struggling, and they actually said at risk, which is the worst. And then over in towards the end, it said that the child was average. It said that a lot. It did it a lot. Completely, because I flipped back over and I was like, okay, visual spatial skills and all these things are huge deficits. And then I flipped back over towards where the summary was. I mean, I look at things like I'm so anal about this stuff. You don't even know. Like it takes me forever to get through stuff because I pick at it with a fine tooth comb. And so towards the end, average, the child's average for his age, average for this, blah, blah, blah. No, he was not. Have you looked at his scores? Why are you lying to the parents? His scores are horrible. And we're going to repeat that again. Remember we talked about scores just, I think it was last week or the week before. We're going to talk about scores again. We're going to talk about, I'm going to hammer that into you, how to read a darn evaluation, because those scores will trick you up. And you got to really look at it. Because, I mean, I've been tricked up before. So I've had to take a break, walk away, clear my head, come back to it. And, like, I find stuff all the time of how it's just not right. And, you know, those are the things that are so important for you to get. Because that's how you're going to create your PPPN. Hello. So, in my course, for those of you who know, all right, my big course called Rock the IEP, I teach the PPPN system. And anybody on here that is that has bought the course, I know there's several of you, I am adding to the course, okay? So it's going to be, I'm not sure what I'm going to call it because you guys, you know, you have your modules. So I'm going to start, I don't know if I'm going to say like additional 1 or if I'm just going to put the title for you or something. You're going to know that it's an additional. All right. Because I told you when I update stuff, it's going to be an additional. All right. And so there's a lot of things that I plan on updating, and you're actually going to get me face to face on a video and explaining it all to you. So I want to update that for you guys. So yeah, with the course, you know, I'm always updating as things change, as things are new, etc. So now we're into a new year. Lots happened last year. It was a freaking nightmare, but this year does not look that much better. Schools are really bucking at, you know, giving compensatory services giving children what it is that they need. You know, putting kids in classes. There's a child that I was looking at his schedule, and he has physics. He's on a second and third grade level, and they put him in physics. You know, we have a child on a third grade level, and they put her in algebra. I mean, don't get me started. Don't get me started. So this was your tip of the week. You know, we had a little bit of political discussion about vaccines, but not the vaccine, but yeah, the COVID vaccine. All right. So I will talk to you guys soon. I will be going live tomorrow. I'm not sure about what time. More than likely in the evening. But I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to cover a lot between Monday and Wednesday. Okay. Oh yeah, they're suing the school boards. Like, a big thing right now is the masks. I can tell you right now, 100%, okay, via OCR, your child, if they have a disability and they cannot wear a mask, they do not have to wear a mask. They do not. Okay? They do not. That is discrimination. Now, obviously, if they can, put a mask on them. Like my daughter, she didn't care. She could care less. But there's children that cannot wear it, either for medical reasons or they won't keep it on, And so they can't be barred from school because they won't keep it on, Now, obviously, their parents have to be responsible, make sure he's not, getting sick, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm sorry to say, those little paper masks and, those masks you can get at Costco, they don't protect you from getting COVID. They don't. Kim, you're a nurse. Come on now. Go ahead, tell them all. They don't. You got to have like that medical shield and all that. I mean, think about it. In the medical field, they put that whole like getup on to go into the room so that they don't get COVID. So in my mind, I'm thinking like, what is this like paper mask or, this little like thin, material mask? How the heck is that going to prevent, It's just not, is it going to put some precautions into play? Sure. But if somebody's got COVID and they have a paper mask on or a thin, mask that is material like, germs will go out of it. Okay? It's not going to stay put. It's going to go out. All right? Germs are these little particles that fly in the air and they're super tiny. So they're going to get through that mask. All right? So, but bottom line, your child does not have to have a mask, especially if they have an IEP or a medical reason. Okay? Schools are requiring children to wear masks right now. All right? Here, same thing. The governor put that out that it's required to wear masks. All right? But not for children with special needs that cannot wear them. Now, certain schools, and this is the last kind of tip for you guys, the only thing that would protect you would be industrial one, not the paper mask. I was told by the DOH, say someone got COVID from just going to the post office and wore a mask, did not go anywhere else. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. So, shit, what was I saying? I was reading what you said and I forgot. What was it? I was saying something, y'all. Oh, some schools have like a waiver, all right, that you have to have your doctor sign that your child doesn't have to wear a mask because of XYZ reason. That is not for children who have special needs. Because if they have an IEP, they have special needs. All right? Some sort of special need. Okay? ADHD, autism, whatever. Okay? So their waiver that says, hey, go ask your doctor if it's okay for you not to wear a mask. What the hell is the doctor going to say if your child doesn't want to wear the mask and takes it off? It's the stupidest thing. Hey, doctor, can you sign this paper saying my kid does not? And here's the problem with that. I'll tell you why. But here's the thing. You go into the doctor and you say, hey, can you sign this waiver that my child doesn't have to get the vaccine? The thing, too, is I don't know the answer to this. I don't. Maybe you do, Kim, being a nurse, but I know that kids of a certain age don't have to get the vaccine at all because they're too young or something. I don't know the answer to that. Maybe one of y'all do. But I know there's like an age thing, you know? And with the masks, if your child cannot wear a mask because of a disability, special need, etc., okay, then they do not have to wear a mask, okay? OCR just put out information on this. I think I posted it on the page and the group. I will check. But that's very important to remember. I love when I had the medical note from the doctor and they said if he wanted it on. So that's important to remember. Is a lot of doctors are actually not signing that waiver, okay? Because then it like kind of holds them liable. So if you're just know if your child has, they said 12 years and up, kids can get. Okay, gotcha. Thanks. So if your child has a disability and they can't wear the mask, they don't have to wear the mask, and they can't be kicked out of school, or if they are, they have to provide the same services, accommodations, education, training, etc., that they would in school. They have to provide FAPE. Okay? All right, guys. I will talk to you later. I gotta go feed my family. It's late here, 8:23. So I will talk to you guys soon. If you haven't joined the group, make sure you go Autism Mama Rocks IEP group in the search bar. Post a 1 below if you're a newbie here, and tell us where you're from, even on the group. And post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. And one more thing. Do not get upset when we talk about difficult subjects. All right? Nobody's judging anybody. I don't allow it on my page, and I don't allow it on my group. So if anybody's rude, I want you to have dialogue. I love a good debate, but no nastiness. Okay? Has to be positive, has to be supportive. You don't have to agree, but that's okay. You have your opinion, we have ours, somebody else has theirs, and we want everybody's opinion because that's where dialogue and things start to happen, because we all have different things that we can add to the table. Okay, so I love that, and so I want that to happen. Okay, so Davinia, now I know why you have Barbies on your picture. All right, guys, so I will talk to you soon. So bye to the group, bye to the page, and I will see you guys tomorrow evening. It may be in the car because I will be at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. So we are going there because, you know, last time, and I got to take Sky, and she has not let it up. She will not let me not go. I don't want to go, but she's making me go. And I just had my hair blow dried, and then I'm going to have to get on a water ride, and then my hair is going to be all messed up, and you are awesome when you talk about what you are an expert on, which is more than I. Well, you're going to become an expert, okay? I did not start from where I am now. I started lower than low than low, okay? Low, real low. I didn't know anything, nothing. And then when I thought I knew something, and I was a Google genius, and I literally had my PhD, I still do. I got my PhD in Google. I think many of us do. I mean, we are doctors in Google. And come to find out, Google's not right on everything at all. A lot of what Google has is opinion from people. So be careful. But one thing I want you to know is where parents are struggling, where I struggled, was I got this awesome Google PhD. I knew so much. Oh my God. I was a genius in IEPs and autism. And I was that rockin' mom who knew what was what. And, you know, back in the day, all right, when my daughter was kind of like diagnosed and all that kind of stuff, that was like the Jenny McCarthy days. And, oh, you know, there was, you know, try this and try that. And, you know, I didn't know which way to turn. And, you know, there's certain things I tried, certain things I was a hard no for me. But the biggest thing I did was um, the real solid vitamins and minerals and, you know, those type of things. Fish oil and, you know, all of those things. So zinc and, you know, I still shove that down her throat. She actually loves it. But I think that's a good thing. But I think what's important is realizing that it took me years, Melissa, years. And, the hardest thing is not what we learn and put in our brains. It's actually knowing how to be on your toes in an IEP meeting and have something to say like that. And no, I have certain things. Maybe I'll have to have I don't know if I'd call it a tip. I guess it would be content where I try to teach. It's hard to do it and teach that. Like, that's why I said, you know, I need to, you know, find people in different states that I'm going to train to do what I do. All right. Which is my goal. Like, I think I told you guys that I'm going to be expanding. But my thing is it's very hard to teach, how to be on your, like, I'm on my toes in an IEP. Like, I know how to listen to what they say, but I'm so quick with my words. Like, I have trouble with, like, I'll speak over. But I love the fact that I'm good with that. I perfected that. And that was probably one of the best things I perfected, other than, you know, and that's where I came up with my, it's trademarked, copyrighted, all of that stuff, registered, the PPPN system, which is plan and prepare, present, persuade, and negotiate only if you have to. All right. So I'm going to leave you with that. I will talk to you soon. I don't have 4 anymore. I got 3 spots open for the end of September, first week of October. So message me on WhatsApp. I think that was posted above. We'll post it again. And we'll post the course because I know some of you just asked for the big course, Rock the IEP. I need non-public for my almost 13-year-old, longest plateau of skills. Can't keep the same thing and expecting different rules. Yeah. You're welcome, Melissa. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Take care.